So everything is certainly interesting. First, we have Dan Didio out at DC. Now we have Bob Iger stepping down at Disney. And man, that means some significant change is coming. And I really wonder what else is going to happen. Now, I did watch Comics Matter with your boy Zach, or I think I watched only a part of that video because I'll be honest, I don't watch all of his videos. Sometimes I just get to his premise and then I dip out, depending on whether I'm interested. But, I'm with him in that it's not really surprising to see some of these things happening. I think the way that Bob Iger just suddenly stepped down it's really fascinating. I mean, and of course, like the suddenness of, Dan Didio, also fascinating because it really kind of means that change is coming. And I have to wonder what that kind of change is going to be, because you look at the reaction of what's going on with Doctor Who, where the BBC is essentially saying you are entitled, they're calling their fans entitled for wanting regular Doctor Who back, for wanting a good show back. You're seeing people be called all kinds of names for not wanting to watch Birds of Prey. And, you're seeing, of course, Birds of Prey blaming men, which is just not the truth, and then you're seeing like what happened with Sonic, where they listened and they made more money opening weekend than they thought that they would. Now, of course, there was a bit of a dip, but, I think that's normal for movies. But essentially, it's interesting to me because, I look at the articles and I see a lot of agenda. Disney is saying this character is now part of the community and this character is now part of the community. And, and DC on this show is saying that is introducing this community character. And, and so it seems like the more that they try to hit you with that LGBT message, I'm starting to think, I know they're serious about it. I know that they are serious about the messaging, even if they don't believe it, because I know that they have. So let me just talk about it. One of the channels that I found that I've really have liked is The Fourth Age. And I've been listening to, I've kind of been catching myself up on some of his videos and his premises, because I think I love his channel because his videos are very well reasoned. And, you could tell that he does his research behind it, where he talks about how, he talks about the comics industry, especially Marvel, and how they have redefined what they considered success, and how they're trying to redefine, how the industry is trying to redefine heroes, and how it's now more about pushing agenda, which it absolutely is. And you can absolutely see it because as they try to enter the YA market, as they try to enter, more kid shows, as they try to push for younger and younger and younger, it is this idea of trying to indoctrinate our children, especially added to public schools. And they're, it's the push to indoctrinate our children from the very beginning, so that, by the time these kids become an adult, and we are seeing it because, I still remember being taught the evils of socialism. So when people say socialism to me, I don't see it in a very positive light. I see all the damage it has done to every country that has enacted it. People slightly younger than me, they are practically all in because all they hear is the word free. Because it's been taught to them. Because it's been taught to them that the workers of the world, and yes, I can definitely say, when I was in school and I look back and I think back to conversations and things that I had with teachers, I could see even then the kind of messaging where the workers of the world need to band together and the workers of the world know, like the workers of the world are better than the business people and the workers of the world. And this attitude that people who are wealthy are, should be considered subhumans, even though when you look at many of the, well, not many, when you look at all of these systems that started off socialism and became communist, and I can just, and communism is always the end game of a socialist country. So when you look at it, they don't get rid of the wealthy class. It kind of shifts to who becomes wealthy. So that leader becomes wealthy. And I don't care that, you have Americans walking around calling themselves democratic socialists, because let's be honest, Venezuela voted for their own socialism. Many of these places voted for their own socialism. And guess what happened? Their votes stopped mattering. Because that same thing can happen here at the U.S. Socialism is not about people having freedom. It's not, and it's kind of dangerous to say that the mob is always right and that the mob should always rule. Which is why I don't like pure democracy, because if I don't want to do something and then because I'm outvoted, I now have to do it, that doesn't make it a good idea and it doesn't make it right, because now you're trying to force me to do something that I did not want to do because everybody else said that they wanted to do it. It's sort of like when your parents come to you and, they say, well, you did something stupid and you did it because your friends did it. And then your parents used to, because the saying that used to say, well, if everybody jumped off a bridge, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? Because that's literally what pure democracy, as these people seem to want, does. It's forcing everybody off the cliff because the majority wants to jump off that cliff. So I'm not necessarily interested in that. And I think I just went down a rabbit hole and forgot where I was going. But I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the change and I'm looking at the landscape, and it's kind of more interesting than where 2016 was. So I know I talked about like the BBC now calling their fans, basically calling fanship entitled, and, why people shouldn't listen, and Sonic getting in trouble because they listened to the fans. And, and now we're seeing at these big companies, high profile firings. Now the BBC, basically because it's the BBC, they are committed. And I know Marvel is committed to destroying comics as we know it, because to them, success now is about influence, and it's about forcing the next generation to believe in progressivism. And I know that DC is was trying hard with Dan Didio to follow through on what, Marvel was doing. And so, right now it's just really interesting. And I don't know how long it's going to take for these changes to begin bearing fruit. But, you can't deny right now that there is significant change coming. And I am fascinated. I'm fascinated to sit back and watch what's going to happen, because could this actually be the tidal change that is necessary to save the entertainment industry? That's really what I want to know. I know everyone's been talking about fires and everything is crazy, and but I think if we could sit back without the emotions and without the clickbaitiness, we can actually be you can actually kind of see the landscape for what it is. And yeah, I still maintain I don't know whether this change will inevitably be good and bad, because, things kind of work, it kind of works in a pattern. It kind of works, it's a pendulum. So it really kind of will depend, because it's a matter of, because I know that change will come and things will go back to being the way that it's supposed to be when businesses lose enough money. And have we reached that point where businesses have lost enough money that they're saying, okay, enough is enough. Let's go back to the market. Let's go back to what's selling. Let's go back to what we see it is that people actually purchase and what people actually go to and what people actually are looking for. Because the entertainment industry is not going to be successful if they can't do that. So yeah, Bob Iger's out. Dan Didio's out. Change is just rocking and rolling. And, it's funny because I looked through a lot of things, and I can definitely say that the summer of 2019 is probably ground zero for a lot of the changes we're currently seeing today. And who knows what happened, but it will be interesting to find out. Oh yeah, and I backed Bigfoot Bill. And now I can say it because I have my original page locked down. So there's still original pages of artwork left, which original artwork by Doug TenNapel for $300 is a phenomenal deal. I mean, it is a phenomenal deal. And I think he also, too, as extra perks, he still has some signed scripts. So basically, like, you get a page of his script as well. So if you like that kind of stuff, and that signed page of script is $20, I believe. Yeah, I think it's $20. Anyway, I mean, these are great deals. These are great deals just to have something that is original. And so right now I've just kind of been on the lookout and purchasing original things, original art and whatnot, because, it is an investment. And with change coming, I think it's going to be necessary. So if you like this, click the like button, click the subscribe button, do the bell stuff for notifications, share this, do all of that. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.